Hello everyone and welcome back to Milo Farms. Well, we're trying to troubleshoot a hard starting issue on the boat here. This boat has a 4.3 liter Vortec V6 and it has this Holley carburetor. The Holley carburetor I think is original and probably hasn't been rebuilt. It's still in pretty good shape. It's a little dirty, but seems to work fine once you get it started. But the issue we find is the starting. So this carburetor has an electronic choke, which you can see right here. And I've never worked on one with an electronic choke before, but started doing some research and determined that you can actually twist this little plastic piece and change the adjustment of the choke. Now this engine is cold. I haven't started it yet today. We're in the shop here, so we can't run it out of the water. But when the machine is totally cold, you can find here that the choke lever is open, or the choke butterfly is open. And this is full closed choke, and then when it just sits there, it sits like this. So started looking at the adjustment here, and there's supposed to be a little ring that looks like this that goes around that piece and retains it. I've got it off right now just to do some looking at it, but I'm going to go ahead and put that on, and then we'll also, before we do that, we'll take a look at how this thing works. I'll put it on, and then we'll go through the adjustment of it. So pulling this off, that choke lever is going to fall down, but you'll see on the back side of it is a spring, and this spring reacts to heat and twists. So when that twists, it moves this lever right here up or down, which in turn closes or opens the choke. So supplied to that little electronic choke is 12 volts through the key, and when you turn the ignition on, it starts to warm up that little coil in there, and it'll take the choke slowly from the closed position to the open position, and then after a few moments, once it's warmed up, it'll stay in the open position. And then if you shut the engine off throughout the day, it will mostly stay in that open position, but it could start to migrate closed again as the engine cools, and then when you start it, it'll warm up again and come back open. So there's an adjustment that you want to make based on this little piece. So I'll go ahead and get that new ring put back on. The old one was broken, so we'll get the ring put back on, and then we'll go through that adjustment. When you put this on, you want to make sure that in that little hole right there, that you have this pin right there caught in that little hole. So I'll go ahead and get it put back together. There's 3 screws, and then we'll come back and we'll show the adjustment and what I plan to do. Okay, so here we are put back together. We've got everything hooked back up, the 3 screws, and we replaced the little broken retainer piece that holds that on. And as you can see right now, the choke mechanism is partway open. And this is the way that I found this mechanism. So you can see right there in the center, I've marked the center hash mark, and the adjustment ranges from right there over to right there where I've made those black marks on the hash marks. Then on this little black disc, over here where this white mark is, that's the adjustment mark on here. And as you can see, when we found this, this is the adjustment that it was in. The choke will never close. So in doing a whole lot of reading and thinking about how we use the boat in different environments and temperatures, and sometimes winter, sometimes summer, I'm going to go ahead and set it in the center position, and then we'll start it and run it for a few trips and see how it works in that position. If it seems like it's flooding out, getting too much choke, then we'll take it up a hash mark or take it down as needed. So to make this final adjustment, you'll twist this disc like this, and as you do, you can see that choke closes up, and then the further you go into the rich position, it puts more and more preload on this mechanism. So that's the adjustment I'm going to do right there in the center. And that's where the hash mark is, right under that white dot that I made. And then right there. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten up this retainer bolts on this disc, and then we'll demonstrate how this actually works. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the key on, and then we'll watch. So I just turned the key on, and this little electronic choke is going to start warming up. I expect it to take about 30 seconds. But you can see right here, it's starting to get a little looser. So with the suction, you'll start to get a little bit of a gap right there. You can see now on the choke. And so you would have started the engine's starting to warm up now, and it'll continue to warm up, and slowly this mechanism, with the suction especially, will start to open even further and further. So you can see now if I lift that up, it just falls down all by itself. You can see it's still moving. And there you go, it's almost all the way open. And remember, you're going to have that suction going through here of the air, and the weight of this little flapper pulls itself down. And there it is, there's open all the way. So the choke's now completely off. And this little heater that's in here will stay warm the whole time that the engine's running. And then when you shut the ignition off, it'll slowly start to cool. But you have all the heat radiating up from the engine that's going to keep it warm. And that'll keep it disengaged on the choke most of the day. So like I said, we're going to keep track of this, see how it works. That might be a perfect position. It may be running a little bit too rich, but we're going to monitor that and see how it goes. So hope everybody enjoyed the video. Remember, you can't finish a project without getting started.